Good morning. Today we're going to be using the Geoboard app by the Math Learning Center. Now this great app is actually available in a web-based browser or also through iTunes. So today when you log on, you're going to see when you get to the Geoboard app from the Math Learning Center website, you're going to actually have three different choices of boards. Today, because we're going to be using geoboards to focus on arrays and the commutative property, we're going to be using the rectangular board. It has more pegs. So I'm going to start today by building an array. I'm going to start today by thinking of what I know about arrays. Arrays are built with rows and columns that are equal. So equal rows and equal columns. I'm going to start by taking a yellow rubber band and I'm going to actually start by making my rows. So right now I have 1, 2, 3 rows. I know that because if I were to go straight across, 1, 2, 3 rows are selected. My next task is I'm going to outline where I want my columns to go. I'm trying to do a color that it's easier for me to see. So the green is easy for me to see. Now I have to determine how many columns that I need. I'm going to come across for columns. 1. I'm going to go 2. So now I know that I have 3 rows and I have 2 columns up and down. So rows, again, are horizontal. Columns are vertical. They hold things up. If I think of, I often think of Greek architecture and think of the lovely columns that are in front of many of the buildings. So I am actually going to close up my array by creating a rubber band on this side. So this side again has 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I know I have 3 rows. I'm going to come across here and I'm going to go 1, 2, and it looks like it kept my green color, but that's okay because I know that I have 3 rows here. Now, once that I've created my array, I can close this up. So I can do that by, I want to come across here and I'm going to close my rows up. So I'm going to take it this way now. This is my row. So I have a row across here and I have my 3rd row that's going to run across here. So I'm going to grab a hold of that rubber band and pull it over here. So now I can very clearly see that I have 1, 2, 3 rows, and I'm going to run a green right down here to show that it's separated into 2 columns. Now, my next task is going to be to use the text feature. So if I come down here and I click T, that T is actually a writing tool or a text box. I'm going to type in here. And my job is to be able to name this array 3 different ways that we use in math. So I'm going to have it be 3 rows and 2 columns is one way I might describe this. If I was using equal group languages, I might say 3 groups of 2, or I might say 3 times 2, or 3 multiplied by 2. I know that those all mean the same thing, but they describe that array and match that array. If I were to say it any of these ways, that would be an accurate description. So I'm going to move this right over here. And I'm going to now envision what would happen if I took that array and turned it onto its side. So if I actually went, I'm going to just draw a picture of what I'm talking about. If I actually went here and I took this array and I flipped it over, so it's laying on its side, what would it look like? So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to close out my drawing tool and I'm actually going to show what that array would look like if I did that. So I'm going to go ahead and imagine this getting flipped over. If this got flipped over on its side, if I look here, this side that's along the bottom will now be along the side. So instead of having 2 columns, now I'm actually going to have 2 rows, 1, 2. And these 1, 2, 3, instead of being rows, if I flip this over on its side, it's going to run the length or the long way horizontally, and I will have 1, 2, 3 columns now. So 1, 2, 3. That was here. They flipped it down and now it's here. I'm going to finish up this array quickly so we can get to the typing part. Now for this case, I'm actually not going to close it up because I already feel confident that I can calculate this out because I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to dismiss this. I'm going to click a text box and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I have now 2 rows and 3 columns, 2 groups of 3, or 2 times 3. Finish this up, and I am actually done comparing my 2 arrays by turning them over.